Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Xeon Cast,
I like that.
or the Gundam Roundtable. Either way,
I like the
I kind
Xeon
of like
Cast.
the
That's a
Xeon
good-
Cast, but
Yeah, it's got a good ring to it.
yeah, I think some people might have some problems with it, but we'll have to make do. But then again, I don't think everyone was fully on board for the Xeon Cast from the last couple weeks. Maybe. Either way, welcome. It's been a week. We had some time off. We went and celebrated Labor Day, and here we are to talk some more Gundams. We're flying a little light today, but I've got with me Agent Decibel. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's fun. So, off on any secret missions this week?
Well, that's kind of a secret. I really can't say so. I mean, I can, but I'd have to kill you and that'd ruin the show. So it's probably best you don't know.
Mm-hmm. I guess so. It wouldn't be a secret mission if you went and told everyone. I mean, you're not Archer.
That's the point.
Which, good show it's a pretty good show if you haven't watched it yet.
Which one?
Archer.
Oh, you know what? It keeps popping up. I might have to give that a try.
I would definitely check out a little bit of that show. It's pretty funny. It's got, what was it, John Benjamin, I think his name is, voicing the character he's also the same voice as the guy on Bob's Burgers.
Never watched that one.
Anyway.
Right now, I'm actually going through Futurama. That's a lot of fun.
Oh. It's funny that I started watching it too, and it's kind of hit about that 20-year mark since the show started, because and it's kind of starting to come back up in that cultural zeitgeist of shows to watch.
This is actually my first time ever watching it, and the one guy I love on there is Zach Brannigan. This man's after my own heart.
See, I would have thought the Robot Devil was your favorite.
Yeah, he was okay. I mean, Robot Devil, the Robot Santa Claus, tomato. But Zap, he's got that style to him I really appreciate.
Kip, I made it with a woman. Inform the men.
Welcome to the Sexnasium.
Would you care for some champagne?
These are pickup lines I needed. These are pickup lines I needed as a teen. I almost hate myself for not knowing these things.
For being a discount Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
See, I think you were too busy. I think you were too busy looking at the Klingons.
Hey. Klingon women. If a woman can't kill me, she has no business being with me.
All right, then. Well, that's been dating tips from the Xeon Cast. I think, though, we should get into talk about our episode for today. Today's episode, to get into it a little bit, is something of a quote-unquote secret episode. It's one that's never been aired in the US. It's never gotten an English dubbing, though I am led to understand that there has been an Italian dub of it. But that doesn't help me for getting to see it in English, but we had to make do with subtitles and see it as it was intended to be seen.
Read. It's fun and educational.
I was here for the big robots. No one told me I had to read. All right, let's pull this up. So, we are on episode 15 of Mobile Suit Gundam, entitled Cucuruz. Cucuruz Doan's Island, or henceforth Doan's Island.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that tongue twister again. as always here in the podcast, we will be going down the episode and breaking it down scene by scene to discuss the episode and its merits. We've got our screenshots on our script, so let's get into it, shall we? The episode begins with the White Base crew training with the Gundam for a mid-air convergence, and in an attempt to improve the time needed to deploy the Gundam from the core fighter. One thing I did kind of appreciate seeing, and unfortunately I didn't get a screenshot of it, was that the ship here, or the gun parry, was still damaged actually. So it was a nice little bit of continuity they got to keep in there. Bright isn't too happy with the convergence, or with the convergence. Bright wasn't happy with the time needed to transform, and wants them to keep working on it to get that time further cut down. An emergency signal is received by the White Base from nearby islands, and Bright sends out Amuro to go scout it out in the separated core fighter. So off the bat, we're seeing that they are training, and hilariously, you get to see the core fighter fly off without the other bits, which is a bit of a unique animation bit that we just haven't seen in the show, I thought.
That picture looks like a magic show exhibit gone wrong.
Deploy the Gorilla Gundam or Saboba. Amuro finds a nearby island at the designated point to inspect and lands, finding a crashed fighter ship with pilots tied up inside, still clinging to life. Amuro tends to the two pilots and begins to provide first aid, but sadly, one doesn't make it. While tending to the other, rocks begin to be thrown and hurled from the edge of the jungle, and Amuro pulls the pilot to the wreck back towards the wrecked ship for some safety. He draws his weapons and begins to fire back in the direction of the rocks.
That'll teach those rocks.
Catching up real quick. It's good thinking on his part to stay ahead of things. One thing I did fail to kind of make note of in my notes was that the second pilot thereafter doesn't make it either. Which, getting back into it, charging forth, he finds burning logs and more rocks are being hurled at him, and discovering a slingshot nearby, and the culprits. Some children from the island, living on the island, who begin to hurl more rocks and sticks at Amuro, who doesn't want to harm the children, so retreats back to the fighter. So off the bat, we now have island children and the soldiers. So it's a bit of a precarious situation, one that Amuro certainly wasn't expecting to find.
Kind of reminds you of Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, a little bit. It's pretty unusual considering you got now what you see the three kids who've gone and have seemingly overpowered two grown adults who, mind you, they're not in the best of shape, but nonetheless, you still have children overpowering a pair of adults.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Get back into this. Before the children can pursue, they're called off by the pilot of a lone Zaku named Doan. Which, as a side note, I one of my favorite things about seeing this episode was this shot here. My mind immediately went to Talos. Oh, that's there we go.
That's a
In
great comparison.
Facing the Argonauts. Yeah, sadly, I gotta kind of zoom in a little bit. It didn't work out right. Actually, I wonder, can I? Let me remove this for a second. I wonder if I could just kind of adjust it to. That doesn't work. It's tragic. Doesn't work like I was hoping. Yeah, like I said, it was just a really cool shot, and I kind of came in mind. And considering the times this came out, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that there was some inspiration for the scene, but
that's a bit too coincidental, because if you look at Jason and his men, they're in the same place that the children are with the Zaku coming around. This had to have been taken from that.
I can believe it.
I'm going with that. It looks like that it was. I mean, it's cool that they did that, but that's what it looks like to me.
So, getting back into it, the children begin to tell Doan about Amuro, and the children tell Doan about the pilot Amuro, who was threatening them with a gun, and Doan, instead of outright attacking him, tells Amuro to drop his weapons and he'll be allowed to leave. Doan insists he's no friend of Zeon, but Amuro demands his core fighter and accuses. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. Unable to. So the children tell Doan about Amuro, who offers to let him surrender his weapons to avoid a fight. And being unable to believe this, Amuro chooses to instead fight and winds up losing to the more agile Zaku and crashes into the ocean. That's because I don't want to fight. Amuro, of course, immediately jumps into his Zaku, moves to fight. Like, pulling a bit of double duty again, and not used to. And of course, I should point out that it wasn't just he loses. It's Amuro fires a missile, and the missile gets blown up by a rock thrown at him. Which,
darn good aim.
Mm-hmm. And it lends itself to some superior combat prowess, I would say.
Well, he is Zeon.
And of course, Amuro crashes into the ocean. Soon after this, Amuro wakes in a cabin in the jungle, and where he meets a young woman, Rollin. She tells Amuro that the house and farm belong to Doan. Hang on, Chris just messaged me. Give me 1 second. I can. Sorry about that. Just trying to get little things caught up. Let's see. Amuro wakes up. So here you have Amuro meeting this young woman in a totally unexpected place on this island after he's now encountered the soldier, a Zaku, some children. I mean, my first conclusion would be led to believe that this is like a small family. Still there?
Still there?
Okay, yeah. So it was like it went quiet there for a moment.
No, just letting you do your thing.
Roland tells Amuro that the house and farm belong to Dolan, and that he has no problem letting Amuro go on his way when he's feeling better. Doan insists he's no friend of. She says that he insists he's no friend of Xeon, and on the farm, we wind up with Amuro heading out to the farm to see Doan, who to demand his core fighter back and his equipment. But Amuro doesn't believe what he's being told and accuses Doan of misleading these children. The man just wants his peaceful life.
This is that child's-like view of the world where the person you're fighting against can do no right. Always got to be evil, always got to be manipulating. There's no way in hell they can be good at any level. They always have to be evil. And if they're doing something good, well, it's a lie or manipulation. Now, this is a child's view of the world.
Also, real quick, I just want to say hello to the Nerdporial life form. Looking forward to having you on soon. And yes, it is in fact the missing episode. We had to make do. I had to read for this episode. But speak about things I had to do in this episode. I had to press that button because we made it to the midway point. At this point, Amuro is still very much this child who's he's still just kind of learning to be a man, and he's still thinking in a very, I would say, one-dimensional way that he hasn't really experienced life. So this is just beyond his comprehension.
Well, when you're indoctrinated, this happens to everybody. When you're indoctrinated to a certain point of view that whatever people it is, that they're just completely evil, they eat live puppies for fun, they could do no good, they're just irredeemable, not just evil, just irredeemably. Like they get up in the morning, brush their teeth, and thinking, how can I destroy everything? It's like, no, there's people on both sides. They have their own dreams, their views, they have compassion, they have love. They're people. They're just fighting for different things.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It sometimes doesn't matter, why you're fighting. You just need to know that that's the other side. They don't want what I want. But I think that this is an episode that sort of goes against that notion, against that grade. Because as we'll get into it, this is a man who's this is a soldier who's put his sword down. Swords to plowshares and that.
And, it's like both sides, the Federation and the Xeon Principality, are fighting a total war. Everyone on the other side must go. And, yeah, it is one strategy, but a lot of people, they're just not cut out for that. Some people just aren't built for that. This is one of those people.
Yeah, but we can get into a bit more of that. And unfortunately, Chris's work is taking longer than he would like, which is very tragic. And I'm hoping for you, Chris. Hopefully, work won't break your back too much. So, getting back into it, for the rest of the day, Amuro spends it looking for his core fighter, with little success. And by the day's end, he breaks down and begins to watch the sunset. with a little show for his efforts. Roland approaches him and begins to point out his inability to appreciate the moment. But Amuro is too caught up thinking about his own problems to be able to do so. Amuro blames Doan for deceiving the children and is soon slapped for it. Which, hey, drink as part of the Gundam game. Drink. We have a protagonist being slapped.
Someone's going to get smacked sooner or later.
So she slaps him and accuses for the accusation, saying he doesn't understand their life. That if he wants to talk so badly, he should go speak to Doan, who does want to speak with Amuro. Which is a good kind of reflection, I think, against Amuro. He's become very much bought into the life he has, and here's what he sees as the enemy. This is a Zeon soldier that he pilots a Zaku. Here he is with children and tilling a garden.
You know, in his defense, though, he is fighting a war. And if you don't see the enemy as just pure evil, a lot of times it'll break that will to fight. And that's the whole point of war. It's not to destroy the enemy. It's just to break the will or the ability for the other side to fight. And once you start looking at people as people on the other side, a lot of times that creates problems.
You're right. You're right. He was pure evil. He was slapping that dirty hole around in the dirt.
It's like one of my favorite authors said that in World War II, he was in charge of a ship out at sea when they were chucking depth charges in the ocean. He said, we didn't go down to the German U-boats and ask every single one of them their political beliefs, their dreams, and their aspirations. They were the enemy. You know, that's just the way it is in war. And I think Amuro, you can't really fault the guy. He's just maybe he has to think this way to do the job.
There's certainly something there to that. I mean, we saw in last week's episode where he had to draw on the soldiers, and he couldn't do it. He had to basically change the way he's thinking from last episode to this one. That he can't hold back with an enemy, which, you know, one could say that there's a bit of inconsistency to his character, but I think that in this case, it's arguably Amuro is harshing up for the lot in life he's been cast. He cannot afford the softness. He cannot hold back.
Especially now when you're in charge of the Gundam. I mean, you're basically the golden boy. You're the one that's going to save everybody. You can't be soft.
Mm-hmm. If he hesitates, they could all die. So getting kind of caught back up here. Ryu begins to fly by the islands in the area, and the other core fighter looking for Amuro, and with the white base crew all worried about him, with Frau especially.
Oh yeah, that's his woman.
I don't think there's really much more we can really say about Frau here that we haven't said in the previous episodes.
I actually feel bad for the lady. She's got it bad, and he doesn't even notice her.
Well, I would also point out that he's the only family she really has left. Her mother and grandfather were killed off in the first episode, and now the only one she has left of her old life is Amuro, who's out there constantly fighting, constantly risking his life.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an angle that we haven't really brought up at all. Is Amuro's the only one she has left.
That is a good point. I mean, that's kind of like a double honor. It's the romantic interest. Plus, like you said, the only family that the girl has left. She loses him, she loses everything.
At this point, the only family she arguably has now are those orphans, are the crew of the White Base. Because she's always caring for the orphans as a sort of foster family. Although they don't outright come and say it, but it just seems so obvious looking at it. Is they're a sort of a foster family for her, that
like a surrogate family.
Yes, that she does. If she's always caring for others, there's never time for her to think about her own problems. She's thrown herself at a task.
Good woman. That's a rarity.
So, back at the cabin that night, Doan is having nightmares over his own guilt from his time as a Zeon soldier, and having slain the parents of the children. And waking from his nightmare, he rushes off to go check the radars for fear of the Zeon soldiers arriving. As he says here, I want to get away from this life of constantly looking over my shoulder, which I don't blame him at all, not wanting to have to worry about any of this. It's in a way, it's not a life he wanted, but it's part of the life he's been cast, and he's now made his decision.
That's a lot of stress to live with.
The White Base, having worked through the night looking for Amuro, to the point where they were sleeping at the consoles, awaken the next day to the sounds of some nearby ships being detected on the radars, which we soon come to find out is a Zaku deployed with the fighter jet. I unfortunately could not look up its name. The Zeon scout ships.
I'm looking at this picture. It looks like he's looking at a little toy flying by him at that angle.
I'd buy that.
Like, oh, isn't it cute?
Just get a little drone, get it decked out, and you just put a little Zaku underneath.
There you go. Sorry, that's.
So the Zaku gets deployed and instantly starts blasting away at Amuro, and collapses the nearby rocks that the children had been standing on. Which, by the way, the children this whole time, these three children have done nothing but hurl rocks and sticks at Amuro, telling him get off their island. And of course, we have Amuro saving one of the children in. Well, needless to say, that's about the last you see of the children throwing any more rocks. Which I think is it's the kind of thing you would expect out of shows. He winds up saving the kids, and they get a newfound sense of respect for the guy.
It's a stark contrast to the orphans on the White Base, where they're helpful. They try to do the right thing. They go out of their way to try to help. These kids are just like Lord of the Flies. Like Children of the Corn. It's like, what were your parents like?
What are you talking about? They were raised by he who walks among the rows. So Amuro and the children run back to the cabin. Amuro wanting to go get his core fighter, and the Zaku winds up chasing after them. The Zaku fires and blows up the cabin they had been working oh so hard to rebuild. About this point, Ryu flies by, having noticed the gunfire, and you wind up getting Amuro and the island inhabitants running back for that waterfall, where, surprise, surprise, behind it you have them. What? No! Ugh, freaking cat.
I'm doing a show.
Really now? Ay, ay, ay. So, yeah, as it turns out, the core fighter and the Zaku have been stored in a cave behind the waterfall. And coming in hot out of it, you have Amuro's core fighter and the Zaku. With the Zaku, we get that hot Zaku on Zaku action. Who's your money on? Mine's on the Zaku.
That sounds wrong.
Confused over what's happening. Amuro informs Ryu to not fire on the one Zaku that is in fact on their side. Which, of course, we have Ryu just, huh? Could not imagine the thought of fighting beside that darn Zeonic enemy. Which we get to all the action of the episode now, as we have a dogfight with the two core fighters against the other ship, and the Zaku on Zaku action. The white base arrives in time to be informed about what's happening, and Amuro heads back to redeploying the Gundam. Which, by the way, we get a great shot here.
That is good work.
I might have said that for
That's some of the best work I've seen in this series of like a still shot. That's really well detailed.
Especially for the time, I think it is probably one of the better screenshots. You know, especially considering some of the ape faces you get from the Gundam. So he destroys the fighter and moves to help out Doan against the other guy. Doan insists, "No, I've got this. I'll show you the mobile suit martial arts." Oh man,
Batfu.
Yes. Oh, it's going to be great, especially considering that in about 20 years after this, we get an entire series that is nothing but mobile suit martial arts. We'll get through this real quick. And there's more of that goofy art of the Gundam. As he wants to be the one to defeat it because he's the hero. He's wants to be seen as that hero to those children. And as long as they keep cheering him on, he won't stop fighting.
It's his path to redemption, a way to regain his honor.
Which, of course, then leads to what I think is probably one of my favorite moments in the show up to this point. The two Zakus fighting on a cliffside. Of course, the enemy Zaku fires on Doan in his mobile suit. Gets a critical hit on it there. Again, the cliffside. Oh, it looks so good. And again, more exceptional art of something that, as far as I know, is not recycled footage. The Zaku with those venting tubes from the back, from behind like that.
That's good.
And he does the wind up throw punch. Oh, didn't destroy that one. And we get the engine blowing out the back. Boom!
That's like the cockpit area. You're finished.
Mm-hmm. And he goes sinking down into the waters below.
Yeah, I was gonna say someone's gonna need a squeegee to clean the inside of that one.
The episode ends with them meeting up on the cliffside, and Doan begins to explain how he had killed the children's parents and was ordered to then kill the children as well. But instead, he chose to flee with them, wanting a better life. Amuro asks about if it's not the scent of battle upon him that draws others to him. And wanting to relieve him of that, Amuro takes the Zaku and chucks it into the ocean. And the children protest, but Doan says he did the right thing as the episode fades to black. Oh, and we, of course, get one final shot of Amuro saluting Doan, who having developed a newfound sense of respect for him. And thus the episode ends.
It's interesting the way that Doan treated the kids. Like in some cultures, and even in sci-fi, it's like war children. You kill the parents, and then you adopt the children of those parents, like the Rajinkos with Worf in Next Generation.
We've got to take a brief break here. Because Fenrir is joining us.
Hey, sorry for the delay, boys. Sorry for the delay, guys. I was buying some groceries. Just finally got home.
Hey, not a problem. We were just wrapping the episode up. Well, we just got through the. Yeah. Well, I didn't really get much in the way of responses from the group chats, but I'm glad you made it. No, better late than never.
Agree.
So, no, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, this is a really interesting episode. It's another one of those character development moments for Amuro.
It further challenges a lot of his preconceived notions, and I think that's one of the better things of the episode is that it winds up forcing him to see things of the enemy that he didn't, to see things of the war that he didn't necessarily expect before. He saw the Federation soldiers squatting in his childhood home with it abandoned, and having had to shoot a Xeon soldier. He's had to deal with them flying around planting bombs, realizing he was just a hair's breadth away from death. He's had to now see an enemy soldier who's abandoned war, who's not trying to kill him.
I think that was the hardest part for him, because in his mind at the beginning, if you're Xeon, you're just pure evil. No good could come of you. You can't do anything that's even remotely morally permissible. And you find out that this guy is on an island taking care of children after he killed the parents, refused to kill them. And that's kind of one of those hard questions. Like, what do you do when the command for total war comes out, where everyone must die. Where a lot of people would say, well, let's save the kids. Okay, how'd that work out for the Emperor in Star Wars? Just one of those kids, one of those Jedi children, created all kinds of problems.
Yeah, I think you definitely got a point there. Fenrir, did you get a chance to watch the episode?
Didn't see much of it. Only about 15 to 12 minutes.
That's unfortunate. But I mean, still, it's kind of your basics. This basic kind of story, which I think is kind of the opposite you would almost expect of. One of the things that had come to mind for me was those stories you would get about the Japanese soldiers living on the islands, like found 15, 20 years after World War II had ended.
That had no idea the war was over and kept on fighting. Yeah,
exactly. Like they
it gave a lot of those
down
vibes.
Thinking it was going to. Yeah, this is sort of the opposite of that. This is, I mean, in a sense, this is a Zeon soldier who's quit. He's given up on fighting. He doesn't want any part of it, and
just wants peace. Wants to rest.
Exactly. He's got that sense of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it challenges your sense of personhood. I mean, if you really want to get down to philosophical, it's the personhood that you're challenging. And a lot of times the enemy you will not give the enemy the identity of personhood. They can't be a person. They're just a killer, just a rapist, just like a psychopath. It's like you try to find the worst moral label from your culture and apply it to the enemy. There's a movie in the 80s I suggest seeing, Fenrir, if you've never seen it. It's called Enemy Mine. And it was about two fighter pilots from different races. They got shot down, and they had to survive on this hostile planet together. And it's one of those things. It's like, as a kid, for me, it challenged that idea of personhood for me. Like, maybe the enemy is not just this sniveling, snarling creature. Maybe it is a person, and that person that would actually defend your life against a common enemy, even when it doesn't have to.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, who is this soldier that I'm shooting at? Does he have a wife? Does he have children? Does he have a family, friends, people he himself is actually trying to defend by being in this war? This shows that. The opposite side of the enemy army is not always just a huge monster you have to defeat. Sometimes there are human beings doing the exact same thing you're doing, followed by the exact same morals, just in two different sides.
Yeah, the only thing separating you is a political barrier.
Exactly. Or birth, land, nationality, and so on.
It's like the Spartans, they would say, our wall is our young men, and our border is at the tip of our spears. And when someone comes into your land and they try to push in to take your property and you defend themselves, it doesn't mean you're evil. Hell, to that person's evil. It's these things and this episode's one of those things which makes you really start to look at the enemy like, these are people. Some of them are really compassionate. What do you do with that? Especially when you run the Gundam and you're the golden boy, you're the savior.
Yep, it's very much that part of that hero's journey that this is something he never asked for, but it's now been thrust upon him. Just because I really like this comparison here. I wanted to show it to you, Fenrir, in case you didn't, and just to get your thoughts on it. So earlier in the episode, when you first see the Zaku appear, one of the things that come to mind for me was Talos from Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh, from the old Jason and the Argonauts movie.
Yep. I was curious if you had caught that or if you had thought of that.
Well, yeah. Fun fact, actually, when I saw this, I really had the vibes for it. It's a very old movie. I saw it as a kid and kept it around in DVD format, and also a couple of the old VHS styles. It was pretty entertaining.
Yep, and the way it just walks around the cliff there just totally came to mind for me. It was like that.
Yeah, and it might have been inspired by that because the Legend of the Talos is exactly like that. A giant metallic creature that hides within the island and arrives when strangers arrive.
Yeah, there's certainly a parallel there. You could say might have caused some inspiration.
Yeah, look at the height of the cliff. Look at the position of the children, and then look at that, the height of the cliff, the position of the people.
Yeah. Wonder if it would have been way smarter not if they put a defected weakness on the leg of the Gundam there. Would have been a nod to it. You know, the weakness of the Talus and so on.
Well, I suppose you didn't want to go too on the nose with it, but it's...
Yeah, but one kind of smart.
See, now, Naporial, he
Yep,
also said Enemy Mine's a great movie. You know what? If Naporial says it, you have to go with it. He would not steer you wrong.
You're definitely putting him on a pedestal. And which isn't to say he's wrong. I think he's certainly right there. But yeah, I really find it interesting to know that this was an episode that Tomino never wanted to play in the States, which to my knowledge, I've not been able to find anything to further elaborate on that. And
yeah, that's a curiosity. Because I think it really would have fit well with the series at this point, especially going forward with Amuro.
Okay, apparently it was due to a substantial drop in animation quality. Is just kind of what I found real quick. But I mean, from what I saw of the episode, there was some really good shots in it. I thought I saw.
Yeah, like that still of the Gundam. That was really well done.
I mean, it's apparently there's little things like the shield, the shoulder shield gets put onto a different shoulder at one point. In the episode, like it's a animation error. But guys, I have some breaking news.
What?
A wild Chris appears.
Yeah, I just got finished with work.
Hey, Chris.
Welcome.
Hello.
So you escaped that deserted island?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what happens when there's a holiday. Everything gets backed up.
Yeah, it's never too fun. But sorry to hear you were held up there like that.
I mean, I was almost done, but one of my coworkers, she was running behind, so I was sent to help her. Which it's not a bad thing. It's just what she was doing. It's what the route she was running is a long route. Well, not overly long, but it can be overwhelming. You're not used to it.
It happens.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Well, we'll try not to send you out on too many more scouting missions like that when you can get.
Yes. Normally, the intelligence community has been a little short-handed after that debacle in Calcutta.
Yeah, so we were just kind of finishing up talking about the episode, and I was hoping to get some thoughts from both you and Fenrir about the episode, since me and the agent have babbled on quite enough.
I mean, I listened in on what you guys said, and one of the things that you guys, I noticed you guys kind of overlooked it. The fact is that Doan, he's no longer a Zeon soldier. That's the main big thing there. He's rejected Zeon because of what they try to make him do to the children.
Fair point.
He
Yeah, I mean,
no
they
longer
were gonna.
he no longer associates as a Zeon soldier. He's just a man who wants to live a simple life on an island in the middle of the ocean and take care of the children and maybe fall in love with that girl that he's been with.
Look, I mean, I see a guy. I see him piloting a Zaku. He was a former Xeon soldier.
And
come on,
that's
force
something
ahead.
that's something that Amuro needed to learn in this episode, is that not everyone within Xeon agrees with Xeon. There are some people that are against what Xeon stands for, and when they realize what Xeon does, I'm not saying the whole organization, the whole people, and what I'm just saying is that when they look at what the higher ups in Xeon wants people to do, they will stand up and say no. And sometimes some of them will have to do what Doan do and go into hiding.
It is certainly possible for things to go too far, and it's better in this case. It's good to show that it's not just a blind that everyone isn't just blindly fanatical. And
yeah,
Not everyone's cut out for that kind of work.
And that gives it a more human vibe.
Yeah.
These are actually
that is
people.
an unfortunate side of war, is that when you're fighting a war, sometimes things do get out of line, and you need certain people like Doan to stand up and be the voice of reason and say, no, this is too far.
Exactly. Because if there can be monstrosities. I mean, this kind of reminds me of the story about, remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a Russian soldier was supposed to do the first shot with the missiles. He chose not to, and probably saved the whole world from becoming a nuclear wasteland.
Oh, I mean, there's also the Soviet boat that was heading towards the demarcation line, heading towards the blockade, that then stopped and turned around.
Yeah, but this shows a soldier follows orders, but if he knows something is wrong, he has to say it. That's the good.
Well, I think history shows we can thank the X-Men for that.
Yes,
that is true. Magneto was right. Magneto was right, and he saved us all.
Magneto was always right.
But I mean, we'll see later on in the show what happens when people go too far. I mean, heck, this isn't shown in the show, but this is actually kind of seen in other aspects of the show, where splinter groups like the Titans, or what we see in Mobile Suit 8th MS team, where you have the hero of the show remembering living in Side 2, I think it was, watching as a Zeon Zaku 1 fires canisters of gas into the colony and basically killing every single person that isn't protected. So I mean, the war does go too far, and it depends on it depends on your character on how far will it go. And that is and Doan represents the character that says, no, this is too much.
Some would say going too far. I mean, the point of war is to break the will of the enemy, so they will no longer fight. And a lot of people decide,
the point of
war, be damned, I'm going to do whatever it takes.
The point of war most of the time is to achieve a goal, which is most of the time to achieve land, to eliminate a threat, to gain riches. Most of the time it is to gain riches and land, and it hasn't been until about the 20th century when it became about eliminating threats.
That is true.
I like the Spartan method.
That is a 21st century thing.
I like the Spartan method when they were asked, why don't people invade you? Because we're poor. We don't We don't care about riches. So no one has a point to come in. And if they do come in, they're just going to face a bunch of spears. But yeah, you are correct. In the past, I mean, most of the time it was over to gain treasure.
Treasure, land ownership. If you go off of the Iliad, it's the beauty of a woman.
Oh yeah, women.
Yeah,
Let's
I mean,
not
just
go
look at
that one
Troy.
with war.
Just look at Troy. It all started because of one woman.
It's because a man couldn't control himself around the woman.
Hey,
I
Well, I
blame
mean,
Paris
oh
for
my
that
you,
goodness.
one.
you do have
That's
to admit
Paris
the
is
woman.
doing.
Oh, you
That
do
was
have to admit
Ares.
that
That was,
this is a
but in
woman
part you have
whose
to admit. But
beauty
in part you have to
was.
admit, Athena and Hera and Aphrodite had something on that too.
Well, I mean, you do have to admit that Helen of Troy beauty rivaled that of the gods. Like it says, her beauty was so great that it could launch 1,000 ships.
And
Yeah,
it
maybe they
did.
should have just turned her into a spider just for thinking she was good. She was better than the gods. I mean, they
Athena,
certainly
she
had no
already
problem
did
doing that
that.
before.
Yeah, Athena. Honestly, now that I think about it, Athena is the greatest bitch among all the gods. I mean, she's done numerous awful things. I mean, people say Ares is evil, but Athena she's worse. I mean, Ares, he's straightforward, kills his enemies, but she punishes them even for the smallest things. I mean, she turned a woman into a spider. She turned a victim of abuse into a giant monster that turns people into stone. Athena's a monster.
Well, I mean, that was Hellenistic justice back then. She couldn't. Athena couldn't go after Poseidon because Poseidon was one of the big three. She
Yeah,
couldn't
but
go
still.
after. She was also her uncle. She couldn't go after. So I mean, the only person that she had to punish someone, and unfortunately, it was the woman who was her priest, and also was one of the
Yeah,
most
but still.
beautiful things out there.
Yeah, but still the victim. Not a good thing if you want to go to the history books as a nice god. But I'm just saying, if we were in the Greek times, Athena would probably be the devil for me, and Ares would probably be in the good side. I'm sorry, but she's done a lot of bad things. She is
Well, I
no
mean,
saint.
you're looking at the lens of people back then through today's lens. You're doing what a lot of people do today.
Yep. You got to
That
look
is
at.
true.
You got to look through their eyes. What was their culture? What was their beliefs? We even today we could look at a group like the Taliban and say, oh, they're brutal, they're barbaric. But if you read the Quran, the Hadiths, look into their history, no, it's like the Fremen in Dune. Harsh lands
Yeah.
will create harsh justice. But what did King Xerxes teach us? Soft lands breed soft men. The harder
And
the
soft
environment,
men
the
bring,
harder the history, the more harsh they're going to
and
be
soft
compared to what
men,
we do.
and soft men create a
I
soft
mean, you do have
society
that
that is
famous.
easy for the taking.
You do have that saying: hard times create hard men, or create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good men, or good times
Good,
create soft,
good times
weak
create
men.
weak men, and weak men create
Weak
hard
men create
times.
hard times.
It's the
And it's
cycle of
a never-ending
civilization,
cycle.
But
and it usually lasts about 250 years.
we sadly are in the hard times. We're in the part where the weak men are creating the hard times.
Sadly.
Then that becomes the
So-
golden age, the age of the man to put this stuff right.
I suppose we should probably give it a rating, and we'll transition to a little bit of a little chit chat after that. Is that everyone's good for that?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, Fenrir, one of you two want to kick it off?
Well, I only saw about 15 minutes of it and some parts of the end. But I'll admit, this episode was good. I really enjoyed Gundam because it's really not demonizing any side. It's just showing that both have their own intentions. Both are either good and evil. They're just sides, as in any normal form. The story is great, and I connected with the former Zeon soldier. He defected because he saw something that was wrong and couldn't do it, and I enjoyed that part. So I'm giving it probably a 9.5. out of 10.
So you're saying that it deals with the matter in a complex matter?
Yes, it does. And I enjoy those episodes.
Good to hear. It's been overall a pretty solid episode. I guess since I'm talking now, I can go ahead and give my thoughts. I think that overall it is another solid episode. I would have liked to get a little more into Doan himself, because I think he was I think that's a good character, and I would have liked to see a little more understanding of his time as the actual soldier, and also how he got out to this abandoned island. But overall, I'd say solid episode. I like what they did with it, and I think overall it's probably about an 8.5 for me. Anyone else?
I mean, it is a good episode. I mean, it does deal with a complex morality story of, if your enemy is no longer your enemy, what do you do? And when does one say no more? And I think it does a good job of showing it, is that Amuro now sees that Doan is no longer a Zeon soldier. He's no longer his enemy, and he is willing to let him be who he wants. Amuro lets him be who he wants to be, which is just a simple man who is trying to raise a family. And it does a good job of doing that. I would give it a 8.
All right. What about you, Agent?
I think I'll give it about an 8.5. It does delve into the moral question, which I really like, because I like moral philosophy. It does delve into that a little bit, not as much as I would like to. I would have liked to see an exchange between Amuro and Doan on what's right, their argument, if you will. Didn't really have time for that because, the Zeon dropped a Zaku, and, that always ruins a party for the other side.
I'll agree with one thing about the Zeon. How they dropped that entire satellite in Australia. I approve seeing them out in Australia. I know now why they did it.
Oh, you've gotten a little further in the show?
Oh, no, he's talking about what's going on right now.
Ah.
But I like the like Doan, it's like, yeah, he's had enough. Some people just aren't built for the more ugly side of war. Some people, they're made for it. Doan just wasn't one of them. And like Chris has said, that he's no longer a Zeon soldier. The only problem is the Zeon Principality doesn't quite see it that way. And that's one of the things. You could be a soldier. This isn't like you being dismissed from the military. You quit, you're a traitor, and you die. Because it's not so much because it's our side.
They need to set an example.
Remember, the Zeon are fighting for their very survival and freedom. So yeah, it's gonna be a harsh penalty.
And an example needs to be set.
Exactly.
So yeah, overall, I think that's I can't talk. We've been on a pretty good bit of episodes. I mean, I think the last arguably poor episode overall was probably the one with Icelina, or maybe Amuro's mother.
I think we did for the most part, I think we did like the one with the mother. I think Icelina's one was kind of a bit of a low point.
Mm.
And I think this is kind of like the last episode of the morality tale of Gundam, because after this we get back into the swing of fighting that we love so much.
Yep, we get to see, we have that new looming threat of Ramba Ral, who I think, in my opinion, is one of the best enemies to pop up.
Yeah, he is definitely one. He is one of the few pilots out there that could possibly give Char a run for his money. And it's because of that confrontation with Rumbaral, Amuro is able to develop his skills as a mobile suit pilot more. It's kind of training to him. And the only difference is that if he fails in his training, everyone dies.
A lot of pressure.
Well, hey, it's no less humane. It's no less humane than a mother bird pushing the baby out of the nest.
Unless your Amuro's mother just walk away.
It's just this time. It's just Mother Bird Tomino saying, either win this fight or else everyone dies. Good luck.
It's like the Spartan mothers telling their sons, either come back with your shield or on it.
Yes, Spartan mothers were the hardest of them all.
I like those kind of women. Not too many of them anymore.
Yeah.
Now they're all.
I mean, depends if.
Now they're all blue hair
Harpies
shrieking about their reproductive system.
Yeah, and you just want to chop their heads off.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yes.
Sure, that too.
Unless you're over in Afghanistan.
Yeah. Anyway, so have there been any news lately for you guys? Anything of interest come up?
I just put a new video off. And
did you?
Oh yeah, we're getting close to Friday, Decibel. Remember what we talked about?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. You have to send me the details.
Yeah, will do.
I don't have much to tell. I'm mostly just getting back into Destiny 2.
Okay. Someone brought this to my attention because, hey, it's always something fun coming up. Oh, hey, Jace popped into the chat. How's it going,
Hey.
Jace?
Hey, man.
I hope you're feeling all right.
But yeah, besides that, Jason and I will normally have our show on the Beyond show on Thursdays, and at some point in time we will do our next episode on the Tales from the Jedi Archives.
Okay.
I just
shot
got
Jason.
the email today.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
I just shot.
I'm definitely in that.
I shot Jace the invite, so if he wants to come on and have a little chit chat, he's more than welcome. As he said, he had a day off.
Yeah,
day off.
He does need a day off. He works himself a bit too much. So I actually kind of ordered him to take today off.
We all need a day off once in a while.
Wait. I have something for this.
Wow. The greatest speech ever, and no one can tell me different.
It was a really good with the gay. I have a gay off. I was writing on my phone.
Seriously, was that autocorrect or was that just a mistake?
That was not correct. Yeah.
Seriously, that can get a guy in a lot of pickle.
I have used a little bit too much.
I remember there was one time where my dad, he bought sweet corn and he used the voice to text option and was texting my sister, "Hey, do you want some sweet corn?" And it actually sent he accidentally said to her, "Do you want some sequin?"
Oh, I thought it was something else that rhymed with corn.
Well, there was one time he sent a text message to my stepmother, and he didn't pre-read before he sent it, and when he looked back at it after sending it, it said something about little girl panties.
And there was one day, if Chris remember this, when I used Siri.
Broke my
I used
glasses because
Siri, and yeah, so I just said a lot of weird fucking shit, and Siri, I accidentally made Siri send it to my dad, and Chris broke his glasses. So
let's just say we were both very tired, and we were getting very goofy at that point in time.
yep. And it's funny that you let's see here.
That's better. Now you can hear me a lot better. I don't know why. I don't know why my this StreamYard made me for some fucking reason use my headset mics. The mic from my headset. Not the one I use. But how are you guys? How did the show go?
It's been pretty fun. We were just kind of wrapping up talking about the secret episode.
The lost episode.
Not so
there's
secret
some.
after all.
This is not that secret.
I mean, I would never known that this episode existed until I came across it on Wikipedia when I was looking at episode listing.
Yeah, and today I found actually you guys have heard about Kung Fu, right? The TV show, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found because they made a movie too with Brandon Lee, but also they made a sequel pilot episode with a different actor who plays the main character. And in this pilot, he has a son, and that son is played by Brandon Lee. So I finally got that downloaded today. So
Nice.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, David Carradine as a Chinaman just never really worked for me.
No. Bruce Lee was the one who was gonna have the role, but they changed him out. So unfortunately,
Wait, do
We
you
are
say
gonna talk-
Chinaman? Decibel, that is very racist of you.
And?
we're actually on the 18th. We're actually going to talk a little bit about the Kung Fu series with the Memnock.
Oh, that's right. You got that coming up.
Yeah, and he has more insights than me on all this, so that's going to be really interesting. I'm pretty excited for that. It's going to be me, T-shirt historian, and Memnock. I'm not going to do the same mistake that I did the first time when I made a StreamYard and I accidentally said Memcock.
Oh, jeez.
I'm so happy that no one saw it, and I changed it really fast.
Mancock.
Memcock.
Seriously, you should get rid of autocorrect if it gets that close.
That was not autocorrect. That was actually me typing really wrong.
Mancock, the Mind Taker.
That would have been actually pretty much
just
funnier.
a mighty Emperor Memcock.
That would have been pretty funny if they did it in the Birdman show.
So I do have a couple of things I can show off, and I put a little short earlier, but yeah, I'll show you real quick what I got in the mail today.
I just saw the private chat.
Whoa.
Got me a new Optimus. Because I like these Transformers too.
I have to say that's a pretty cool Gundam. Wow.
Gundam. Seriously, dude.
You
Gundam.
get the meme. You get the
Optimus
meme.
Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Of course, I can just get rid of me on here.
Nice effect. It's almost believable.
There we go. Oh, wait.
We can still see.
There we go. I've got. You gave me technology to work with.
Give you a toy and expect you not to play with it.
I do really like that. That was pretty nice, man. I'm not a big Transformer guy, but it was pretty cool, dude.
Well, I've also got this guy.
Yes.
I was showing the agent some clips of Megatron earlier, just a compilation of him going, yes. Yes.
It wasn't just a compilation. It was like, yes, yes. I'm like, what is he doing? I shouldn't be watching this.
Yes. Oh, this was
but what
my
is like,
this was my childhood villain.
And if
I
you
didn't
ever
even-
played the mobile game Transformers Earth Wars, when you have Beast Wars Megatron, when he jumps on something, it looks like he's raping it. So when I'm hearing him go, yes, yes, I'm like, okay, now that makes sense.
Seriously, I'll admit it. The old cartoon, the old Beast Wars cartoon, I never liked the way it was in the CGI, but I'll admit the stories were great.
Oh yeah,
I unfortunately have never seen it.
it's
It's not unfortunate. Just be blessed. Stick to the original G1. You'll be fine.
he's one of these guys who's very
kinda
much
right
the
there.
truck not monkey sort of camp.
I'm a
Yeah.
fundamentalist. I like the first principle. I like where it began. Just leave it alone.
I've only seen like one Transformer TV show when they were in space.
Right, in space.
Yeah, I
Which was
guess it was when I was young, like really young. It's like
We were
some
talking about Prime, animated,
Animate.
G1, a season of the
It
G1?
was-
Animated. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. That one was cool too.
Yeah,
It
that's the
gave us
only
a
one.
great take on the Transformers.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've seen, and of course the 3 movies.
Every bot was weirdly similar to their G1, but different and unique in a way. And I like that take.
So, also, since I've got big transforming robots on the brain, I wanted to show off the fact that coming at the end of this month, we have the 35th anniversary of Transformers the movie.
Beautiful movie.
Neat.
That's cool.
Hey, I think it's just a nightmare dream, but I believe there was a movie where the Autobots were killed, right?
Oh, you're
No,
looking
that-
at it.
Yeah, it was this, right? I need to go see it again. I'm having these weird flashbacks lately about that.
Oh, it is.
Leonard Nimoy is in it.
Yes, Leonard Nimoy voiced Galvatron in it.
Oh, Eric Idle from the Monty Python movie films. Really?
Oh, I
Oh,
really need to go see it again.
Yeah,
that
Eric
actually
Idle,
made
I do
me
believe,
more
was
interested
Blur.
to watch the movie. Do I need to watch any series or anything to see this, or can I just?
So this
You
is
just need a little bit of knowledge from the G1. Just a
Yeah,
little.
I mean, there's a lot of it's on Plex right now, I believe, for free. And in fact, on YouTube, you can watch.
And if you want information on where to get it in the not so legal matter, just call.
Yeah.
You can find it.
And
you can
remember,
find it
I'm a
on,
pirate. I'm a
you can find
pirate,
it
so I
on
will
Tubi
find
for
everything.
free.
Yeah.
You can find it on Tubi for
Not
free.
my methods. I come from a country where you need to know where to get everything, not the most legal way. If you want to get information from out.
I grew
And
up
it has
being a
the-
pirate, you know. I don't recommend it to people, but I grew up being a pirate.
Not at my level, dude. You're not at my level.
And it
It's
has one
starting
of the
pouring
greatest
where I am
musicians
right
of
now.
all time.
I live in Norway. That's the reason that we have to be pirates.
I live in freaking Africa.
Are you in Somali? Because you can fit right in.
No, luckily no. But close.
Guys, it's
Besides-
been a lot of fun. And I'm glad they've gotten you guys on to have a little chit chat today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me for this little chit chat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
you should have
problem.
gone here earlier.
He just wanted me to come on so you can like get more famous, yada
I
yada.
mean,
You
I'm no
know.
angel either.
Well, yeah, of course.
Still, a lot of us should
Yeah,
have gotten
because
here
you know I
earlier.
am friends with Chuck Dix and all that stuff. You just want to use. You know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
By the way, thanks for
Hey.
getting me on with Chuck Dixon.
No problem, man. It was.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, I am still a bit sour that I was not able to be there because it's stupid work.
Okay, so before we end, just it is a really fun story because we was actually gonna have the interview on a Thursday, but since Chris was gonna work, we moved it to Friday. But he got called in for work
that morning.
Oh man.
Hey, good question.
I got
Anyone
called in
here a
work.
One Piece fan?
Oh, don't even start on the live action thing, dude.
I'm just saying, Nami is pretty much gonna be what you'll expect Netflix to do.
Expect box chicken.
And Shanks
box
too.
packing.
Shanks too.
They're gonna ruin it. They're gonna ruin it so bad.
Yeah, they don't know how to do live action.
Let the anime just be anime, and the manga be a manga, and don't do any live action.
Yeah, I mean,
if
you just
you're
imagine
gonna, like I said, like this, if you want to do a live action, get the producers of the anime to make the live action instead.
Well, the other thing about it is also it's coming right on the
showrunner did? Did you see what the showrunner did? He compared Monkey D. Luffy to Kamala Harris.
Oh,
yep.
Jeez.
And he compared the other character to Trump.
Yeah, a fat Asian dude. His name I can't remember exactly.
What's that?
Yeah, by the way, I went up. I'm gonna right after the whole Cowboy Bebop debacle happened, I decided I'm gonna go buy myself a copy. I'm gonna watch this instead because they don't want to live up to the expectations of what people expect out of the anime.
Yeah.
So
and when looking at that, I want you to look at the character. And when looking at that, I want you to look at the character of Ed. Despite the fact that she has a great father, look for a moment where, in any time she says she's not a girl, that she's a boy or something like that. These people are full of shit.
It's funny because whereas a lot of studios are making live actions of anime here in the United States, they're making an animation of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, wait, that's a thing?
Yeah.
What?
It's Night of the Animated Dead.
Yep. We had one of the Beyond shows. We did go through a trailer and actually talk about it.
And it looks horrible. The animation looks horrible.
God damn, I don't even want to see it then.
And I would love to, Jace, I would love to do, if we could find, because Night of the Living Dead has no copyright on it, no publishing copyright on it. I would love to do just on the day of the release of Night of the Living Dead, or Night of the Animated Dead, to do a live show watching Night of the Living Dead.
I reach out and talk with Jed from Pop Culture because I think that's definitely something he'd be down for covering as well. I think that would be a good little meetup to do.
Because I mean, the animation looks horrible, and it's just like, why remake this? We already have this along with another great remake. Ooh, they're taking their card. Oopsies.
Because these bastards have no creativity, so they need to suckle off the blood of old things.
No, they don't. They need to go back through. And because they, like you said, they have no creativity.
There are reconstructed Doctor Who episodes that look better than this.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. It looks atrocious. It's an insult.
That's why I just stick to the old stuff.
Yeah.
Like I get up in the morning before I do my workout, one episode of Robotech. Just I'm good. Get home, one episode of Futurama, my day's complete.
Which reminds me, I need to add the Planet Express ship.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if anyone has any other good recommendations for ships for me to add, let me know. I can work them into the rotation. I'm looking to update my. Well,
there's the Planet Express Nimbus. The Nimbus, you have to add that one. That's a pretty cool ship. Despite the fact that it's led by a moron, it's still pretty cool. And
the SDF-1.
The
Orville.
The Orville is a okay ship.
So what was that? Oh, you said the V-Wing?
No, the E-Wing.
Well,
You have
I,
to-
I don't want to.
basically,
I don't want
It was a-
to. I don't want to double dip into one franchise too much. So I'm looking to add variety.
I know, but I'm just saying is that add in the E-wing, it's to kind of stick it to Disney a little bit because the E-wing was a fighter that was designed by the New Republic in the EU to kind of be the next snub fighter for the New Republic military to kind of replace the X-wing because the X-wing was kind of getting old.
What was
Kinda.
that ship design that Disney stole from a fan? It was like a TIE fighter, I think.
That what hasn't Disney stolen from fans?
I think it was a capital ship because the newest TIE fighter was a claw fighter from the Chiss Ascendancy. That was pretty cool. They introduced that during the Bong campaign. But I think it was a capital ship that Disney has stolen.
Like I said, what hasn't Disney stolen from fans and not given them proper credit for?
Maybe a ship from Destiny. Maybe could be.
I mean, the list is so big that I don't think we have enough time to talk about it.
I have a good idea. You can have Titanic in the background flying in space.
Oh no! There is a Titanic, the space Titanic from Doctor Who.
That and there was the Titanic on Futurama.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Does the TARDIS count as a ship?
I tried to get that one.
It does count as a ship, right? The TARDIS.
It's an interdimensional time. It's an interdimensional time machine ship. So
I was trying to get a gift of that working that could just rotate
but it's also a sentient
tumble
being.
through space. And
I remember Tom Cruise said that it's a
out.
sentient being. So, does it count as a ship?
yeah, it is a ship. It is a
I'd
ship.
count
Have you thought maybe Serenity from Firefly?
Oh,
Well, that would work.
Oh yeah, from 5. Oh yeah.
That one's gorgeous.
if I can just get a good clean image of it, I can tear out the background of. Then yeah, I can totally add it in. Just like I also need to add in either a Saiyan battle pod or the Capsule Corp ship.
I would love to see a Saiyan pod, man.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's going to be traveling to Earth.
Yeah, you have to. You have to have it travel to Earth.
And what about the Gunstar from the Last Starfighter? Now, I believe that was the first CGI starfighter that was released in movies.
And you can always use my head in space if you want to. Like, it's fine.
I mean, the ship's a little bulky, but hey, some girls look a little better thicker. She's one of them. She could
You
take
can
a
use
beating.
Rick and Morty. Rick's ships. Rick ships.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ships I can use.
Yeah.
And and of course, I think one of the most underappreciated ones is going to have to be like the Kryptonian rocket that Superman came to Earth in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a classic.
All you need is
a
one of those
classic.
spiked Christmas ornaments and just throw it, and you've got it.
I mean, it's either going to be that or I'm going to get Superman flying off of Earth.
Yeah. Both are cool IDs, to be honest.
Indeed.
As if I didn't have enough projects and plans in the works. Oh.
Hey, remember the Justice League Javelin from the cartoon? That was a good ship too.
Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, also the Blackbird from X-Men.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it could fly in space, right? So it can work.
That could work.
Love the Blackbird.
Well,
That's from-
I think it might be a good time as any to check out for the night.
Yeah.
So we'll do some kind of last wrap ups, and we'll get on out of here. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Yep. Jay, since you're new around these parts, you want to start it out?
Yeah, okay. Well, you can find me at the 540 Studio, and we have the other channel, Kingdom of Five, and we have talked about the name change, and we will not change the name of Kingdom of Five. It will stay the same. So we will do some more content there. I'm not gonna make so much content, but that's gonna be more my other editor and my other gamer in my company. She will post more there. But yeah, you can find me here sometimes when I just get to watch more Gundam. And you can find me on Fat Steven, Pop Culture Minefield, Pop Culture Archivist. And I pop up a little bit here and there. And 18th this month, we are going to have Memnock back, and we are going to have a really great time. I'm really excited, and I'm really excited to make a new intro to him. So yeah, that's it.
Is there anything you want to add to that, Chris?
I am presently soaked right now. I just got home and it's pouring.
Oh, jeez.
So, but no, I mean nothing else. All I'm doing, like I said, all I'm doing is just helping Jace when he needs me. Doing our show on the Beyond show. Doing our show whenever we get to it for the Tales from the Jedi Archives. Helping out here, being anywhere that anyone wants me to be, and playing Destiny.
Yep.
So,
Fenrir, go ahead.
well, I'm gonna drop it off too. I've been. If anyone wants to go to my channel, you know where to find me. I've been ranting lately about Batman's mistreatment at the hands of DC and their endless stupidity. Plus, if you should get ready because me and Agent Decibel here are going to be talking Friday about how Watchmen ruined what it means to be a superhero and a villain.
It did.
It was the start of it all. So, yeah. And also, I'll be dreaming of what would have been if David Bowie was the Doctor.
Ooh, that would have been interesting.
That is a good dream. That is a good thing to imagine. What it would have been. Just imagine. The guy would have been a perfect Doctor.
He would have been good. I would have also accepted Vincent Price as a favorite of mine for castings for the Doctor.
What if they had John Pertwee's son?
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, before we start getting down that rabbit hole again, Agent, you want to sell yourself a bit?
I am Agent Decibel, representative of the Villain Defense Foundation. Last week, I finally got the introduction to the Henchman's Handbook out, basically outlining the purpose of the book. And this week, I will be releasing Chapter 1 on the concept of loyalty.
Good, send me a copy of that because I need to get some new henchmen. They were asking for some extra things that I could not give, so I had to get rid of them. And of common method, if you know the Monarch.
That's what airlocks are for.
Exactly. The bodies just
Open
go
airlock
straight
policy.
down.
Well, of course, I'm Ironcaster, and I'm your host here talking about Gundam. I can be found over on the Pop Culture Archivist, where tomorrow we're playing through some more Final Fantasy. Let's see what's coming up. Thursday's the Global Geek Gang over on Clobbering Times channel. All of these channels are linked down below in the description. And on Friday, I can be found over on Father Christopher Miller's channel, The Nerd Father, as well as with 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, who may or may not have been a inspiration to go and make my little short today about these guys. God, look at how big this box is next to my head.
That's a goddamn big box.
Yeah.
Does that mean you have a very large head?
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't take into account just how big my head actually is. Until next
it's kind
time,
of hard
guys.
to measure. I mean, you have to count the beard, too. Pretty hard to measure.
Always count the beard.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We're going to hold it up. That's about a beard length.
Yeah. You know.
Oh, Till next time, guys. Take care of all those big bots and mini cons.